Does everybody know what time it is?
Home Impodcast time!
That's right, Binford Tools is proud to present a home improvement podcast. My name is Adam Yolo, my co-host Jordan. Hi, Jordan.
Hi, Adam. How are you doing today? You sound crystal clear.
Crystal clear. It must be because of my new microphone. I decided after 130 episodes it was time to really commit to this thing. So,
you want this to be one of those podcasts where people can really hear the growth of us, you know, from the very back to the pilot all the way to me getting a mic and now you and just refining our podcasting skills. So the adventure continues.
Yeah, we'll see. I didn't get the most expensive one, but I was well reviewed. So if I sound better, say nothing. If I sound worse, I guess I would like to know, so you can tell me that. But so I'm excited to be using this thing. It feels a little bit feels more legitimate. I don't know.
Yeah, you're definitely a professional now. I'm thinking, if it's too expensive of a mic, one thing you could do is, once we get our Cameo profile up and running, we could probably pay for it pretty quickly.
Jordan, that's a transition that only a guy that's done 130 episodes could pull off. So kudos to you on that. We're talking about Cameo today, and Cameo is the tagline on the page is, what did I write down? Book personalized video shoots from your favorite people. And the reason we bring this up is because Richard Karn recently, I guess, started doing it, or maybe he's been doing it for a while and started tweeting about it. But essentially what this is it's like a service where you put in requests to celebrities. I'm going to say celebrities in quotes for some of these people. And for a fee that ranges anywhere from, here's Chad Kroger doing it for $15, all the way to Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, $1,000. They'll do 30-second personalized videos to and they'll say whatever you want, and they'll send them to the person you request. Had you heard of this before?
I've never heard of it before. Doesn't surprise me that it exists, for sure. It just fits in with the whole Fiverr type of gigs that are going on, but it's obviously very specialized to Hollywood and these athletes, and there's YouTubers on there. I really, I went to Cameo.com and I wanted to see who are the people on there, and there's just, there's people I've never heard of. There's animals on there. It's a pretty wild website. So I did go to the Karn's page and I looked, and he's got 5 out of 5 stars. So as you would expect,
it's peak 2019, I would say. Categories. My favorite category is Real Housewives. There's so many Real Housewives on here that they have their own category. Other categories, you got animals, comedians, Comic-Con, family, fashion, Game of Thrones, influencers, media, it goes deep, athletes and so on. But it's something. At first I said to you the other day that I felt kind of bad for the celebrities that are doing this, but you know what? I thought more about it. In the videos, people are doing it just, they'll do maybe 10 in one setting. So if you're charging, let's say you're Snoop Dogg and you're charging $500 for a 30-second ad, you're making you can make $5,000 in a half hour. And they just do it as they're walking around. Michael Rappaport was walking his dog doing it. I guess these people have it figured out. Maybe I should feel bad for the people that want these. Maybe that's where I should be thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe not for the people who are paying the $2 people, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure who's booking those people. I've never heard of them before. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for the celebrities. They're rolling in good money for very, very easy work. So good on them. And Cameo.com, I'm sure, gets a cut of every sale. So smart for those entrepreneurs. And the world just is a better place because you get these personalized videos, right?
I heartily disagree. Some of the bigger names on there I wrote down: Brett Favre, Charlie Sheen, Snoop Dogg, Antonio Brown, Mr. Wonderful. That's kind of the upper echelon, and then it sort of goes down from there. There's a lot of people on here who you would expect to be on here, and we can talk a little bit about who they are later on. But the Karn Man charging $40 is a really good deal, Jordan. And we want to talk about some other good deals and bad deals on here in terms of who we might want to book and who we think is maybe less desirable. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, obviously the best deal, as you already mentioned, was $40 for the Karn Man, because he's upwards of, I don't know, $1 million per 30 seconds in my book. So you're obviously getting a pretty big steal there, but I wrote down three maybe interesting ones that I don't know if I would want these, but I think they're either good values or I don't know, definitely like a notable celebrity that would be worth getting one. So you mentioned Snoop Dogg for $500. Very pricey, but I mean, Snoop Dogg, Snoop Lion, the West Coast rapper. I mean, that I don't know. As someone who listened to a lot of '90s rap, thanks to Bout It, DJ Bout It JL. I think that's a good one. The other one,
okay.
the second one I have listed, just because he's such like a crazy zany person, Gary Busey for $325.
That was one of mine as well. That's like, I think all things considered, like that's a pretty good value.
I'd say.
Considering, I mean, like he's like not A-list, but he's like weird A-list, like everybody knows who Gary Busey is, and I watched his videos. They're pretty unhinged. You're getting exactly what you want out of those. So I felt like $325 for that was that was one of mine as well.
Yeah, it sounds like I should have watched the videos. I didn't really click on play for those, but yeah. As long as he's doing what he does, then at $325, that's bang on for me. The last one, which is gonna be, I don't know. I mean, I thought this was a really good value. I don't know if you saw this pig on there, but it's an adorable pig. I don't know who he is, but it's called My Best Friend Hank for $50.
Okay.
More than the Karn Man, which I have a problem with, but that's a really cute pig.
Yeah, we need to talk to the Karn Man about having some self-respect, because you can't let a pig charge more than you.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah.
The bad thing about that pig, though, is at first I think it's one of those pigs that got a lot bigger. It wasn't like a teacup pig, so it was really cute to begin with, and now it's just kind of big. So I think that changes the value a little bit for me. But
I saw that happen to a lot of people we went to high school with as well. So that's just kind of life.
They used to be $100 cameos, and now they're $20 cameos.
Yeah, that is so is the tale of life. Okay.
I'd love to hear your best cameos. I
would love to tell you. So we talked about Busey. Here's another one. 90s sitcom royalty. I'm going $125 on Melissa Joan Hart, Sabrina the Teenage Witch herself.
That's a good one. That's a good deal. Yeah, definitely a good deal. Obviously a lot of crossover with the writers, and we'll have that actually later in this episode. But yeah, Sabrina show I watched a lot in the 90s. Every day when you got home from school, I felt like it was on. So watch that. She's 125. You got some of these people. We'll get to the worst people who are charging like upward of 300 or more. That have the stones to do that. 125. That's a value pick. I like it.
100%.
I feel like we're doing a fantasy football draft.
Yeah. Hey, I wish. I'd love to have Melissa Joan Hart on my fantasy football team.
Heck yeah.
Last one for me. I don't know, it's a little off the wall, but it's a good value, and I kind of think this guy's funny. John Spider Sally, $50.
Oh, the Piston, huh?
Yeah, he's funny. He's on Best Damn Sports Show, period. He's a Piston. $50 is a good deal. I watched one of them. It was good, yeah.
Yeah, you get a little bit of kind of a multi-dimensional personality there, because obviously the athlete, but he was also known for being a little bit of a character, and as you said, on that show and other things. So yeah, you're getting more than just like an athlete who, kind of has like the one thing that they do.
Yeah, for sure. # more than an athlete. Okay, so those are the good ones. I forgot to mention earlier, I'd say 4 or 5 people from The Office are on here, really capitalizing on the post NBC, Netflix, Office fame. You got like Jerry and Stanley and who else? You got 3 or 4 of them. Yeah.
Basically every person who's not Steve Carell, and they're on there. So that's good
for sure. Yep.
All right. So my first worst, I wouldn't pay $1 for Snooki, but I certainly wouldn't pay $300 for Snooki.
Yeah, no good.
No good. That's just
No
it kind
good.
of speaks for itself. I cannot imagine getting a 30-second clip from her. So that's my first one. The second one, I don't really have much to say about the person, but this is the most expensive one on the site, which was kind of crazy. $2,500 for Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah,
That's a crazy amount of money. I don't care who you are.
that is a lot. Yeah, for 30 seconds. I didn't even click on that, but I wish I could. For $2,500, she better be really, really. I don't know. I don't even know what you would want. What you would want for that kind of money. But yeah, that is insane. I don't even think I saw that because I didn't click around enough. But that is
that's crazy.
That's a crazy amount
talk.
of money. Yeah, that's nuts.
All right, and then my last one, Iago himself, Gilbert Godfrey, $150. It's not too expensive, but man, his voice, he does have the one signature voice that's kind of scathing, and it would be, I just couldn't imagine getting a 30-second video from him and paying $150 for it. Maybe it'd be good, maybe he'd have something in there, but I can't see it.
I used to listen to his podcast that he had.
He had a podcast.
He still does. It's kind of popular. It's like about classic film and TV and stuff. And, you get used to it, I guess. I'm not saying it's obviously it's annoying, but you do get used to it. So, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. But
okay.
All right.
Let's hear your worst ones.
3 worst. Christy Carlson Romano is Ren Stevens from Even Stevens. $500. I like her, but that is... that's crazy. That's
Snoop Dogg money.
That's Snoop Dogg money, and you, Christy Carlson Romano, are not Snoop Dogg. Don't forget it. All right, next one. This one is, I don't know why this rubbed me the wrong way, but James White, Patriots running back, $200. Patriots have 7 running backs they use throughout a season. They can pick guys off the scrap heap, and they are playing Super Bowl games. Like James White, I don't know. You don't have a public persona. Nobody could pick you out in the street. Patriots have 1 million running backs. You're not all that special, per se. So, I don't know. That rubbed me the wrong way.
Hey, be careful. He's got quite a few Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, well. So do a lot of people, Jordan. So, let's just move on. All right. The last one is... I doubt you ever watched this show. Pawn Stars. Familiar?
No.
Okay. Well, Chumley, who... he was.
No! I'm sorry. I thought you said something else. Yes, I've seen Pawn Stars.
So you're familiar with Chumley?
Oh, I could never forget him. He's memorable.
Yeah, well, he's charging $65, and I don't know, just the idea of anybody wanting anything from Chumley for at any point is kind of interesting to me. So yeah, not too expensive in the grand scheme of Cameo, but just why? Who's that for?
The grand scheme of Cameo. I would say that if I'm going to get anyone from the TV show Pawn Stars, it's either going to be him or the old man, right?
Old man is dead.
I know.
That's going to be a hard one to get, but...
Rest in peace. But if I could have anyone from that show...
How much do you think that they would charge you to break into his coffin and do something like that? Is that Caitlyn Jenner money or what?
Well, I think if you brought in a revolver that was used in World War I or something, and it was a very special thing, they might consider it.
He'd come back to life. Is that what you're saying? All right. Well, that's Cameo. Check it out. There's nothing quite like it.
Yeah, that should be the tagline.
Yeah, for sure. Right. All right. What are we covering this week?
Episode 132, there's nothing quite like it as well, and it's titled, Whose Car Is It Anyway? This one is written by Adam England, which is actually pretty fitting based on the content of the episode. This is the first episode of Adam's, not you, Adam, sorry. You've done 132 of these.
My 130th or something, yeah.
This is the first of 8 that he's going to do. And Adam England, you know what? He's done Home Improvement and Sabrina, and that was it. There's nothing else on his IMDb page. So,
well, in his defense, once you've done those 2 things...
It's kind of like a walk-off home run.
Yeah, he probably is sailing on a boat for the rest of his life.
Smart guy. All right, this one aired on October 22nd, 1996. The title reference, it says, Whose Life Is It Anyway? Was a 1981 film that I'm not familiar with, and I was wondering, why isn't it the TV show Whose Line Is It Anyway? Because the British version was in the 80s.
Really? Okay. Did you like Whose Line Is It Anyway? I remember thinking it was hilarious when I was like 8.
Yeah, I actually loved it. I would watch that like every night because they would do reruns like at 11 o'clock or something. So yeah, I loved that. I mean, Wayne Brady. We talked about Wayne Brady last episode.
I mean, Wayne Brady, Ryan Stiles, Colin Mockery. I mean, those guys, they can get it.
Who was your favorite on that show? I mean, I would say Wayne Brady was, the most talented. He had all the stuff that he could do. But who was your favorite?
That's what you would say. I would say Colin Mockery was my favorite.
I would say he was my favorite as well. He was off the wall funny.
Hey, you thinking what I'm thinking? Colin Cast.
Oh, that's going to be a very short-lived podcast.
You know what? It's better to do that than something where you're going to have to do 200 episodes. So best to kind of have an end game when you start. But no.
Do you think we can do a Patreon Whose Line Is It Anyway podcast?
I think we can do a Patreon whatever we want, but it's just a matter of if people will listen. And the answer is probably not. But
probably not.
Right.
But if you do want to listen, make sure you go to patreon.com/Home Impodcast.
Yeah, that's right. All right, alternative titles?
Yeah, let's do it. I've got 4, actually.
I have 4 as well. I'll let you go first.
All right. Who do you think you car?
Sure. All right. Carried away.
Well, it's my way or the highway.
Nice. All right. A couple of singing ones here. Look at this photograph.
I feel like you've done that one before, but that's all right.
Surprise me.
We're 132 episodes in, so all right. I have one that's also has to do with the paper. A slow news day.
Yeah, you got that right. All right, next one for me. Might as well face it, you're addicted to cars.
All right, I have an addiction one as well. AA, Autoholics Anonymous.
Clever. All right, last one for me. Fish and shifts.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Fish and shifts.
I don't get it.
To play on fish and chips, fish and shifts, like you're shifting the car.
Oh, the British staple, of course. Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. If you weren't such a moron, it probably would have gone over better.
Well, as you know, with our audio recording, it's a little bit harder to hear some of that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean moron. I shouldn't have said that. I thought it was a real winner, and
I ended up liking it once I actually heard what you said. It's just a bit muffled on mine.
I like it. If I have something that I think is funny and other people don't think it's funny, then it just really, really bothers me. And this is one of those moments. So, here we are, warts and all.
Well, I mean, I guess the best thing to do is to move on and talk about the episode, huh?
If that's what you want to do, Jordan, by all means.
All right, well, it's Fire Safety Week on Tool Time, so we're going to talk about that. Tim and Al come out in their firefighter outfits. Heidi's also wearing one, and they look great. It's home fire safety equipment that they're talking about, and the smoke alarms, fire extinguishers, all that good stuff. Binford has a special tool that could help you at home, and it's called the Home Fireman. And it taps into your water line, and they demo that a little bit. And we get a little bit of a curveball here. Tim says, you know what, we need bigger, better protection. And we're thinking a much bigger hose, a hose that's going to, blow Al away or just douse the whole audience or maybe electrocute somebody because there's going to be water everywhere. But no, Al runs for cover and Tim reveals an actual fireman.
Yeah,
What'd you think about that?
What did I think of it? Boy, I guess you call that the old switcheroo. It was real dumb. It is, like you said, it's basically just a bigger version of what Al rolls out. Tim opens it up, and instead of a hose, there's a fireman standing there inside. I
kind of like this, actually.
Oh, no, it's bad. It's the kind of joke that you think is funny when you're like 9 or 10 or, maybe 11, but you're getting a little too old if you're 12.
Maybe 29.
Yeah, I mean, I think having a child has maybe softened you a little bit because this was pretty poor.
Well, I did watch about 5 minutes.
It.
I did watch about 5 minutes of Daniel Tiger today. So,
who's Daniel Tiger?
Well, if you don't know him, you better know him. He's on Cameo for about $2,000.
Is he a YouTuber or something?
No, it's a PBS show that's based on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
I assume that if anyone says like a name that I don't know, I assume it's like a YouTube personality.
It's a really good bet.
That is a part of that is just I'm not gonna learn anything about that. That is a part of the world that's just passing me by, and the sooner it's gone, the better for me. But yeah, I that is outside looking in for me. But yeah, home fireman not so hot. But don't worry, the episode gets about the same moving forward. So
mildly warmer.
All right, here we go.
Take the next scene.
It would be my pleasure. Oh yeah, I want to do a new feature on Home Impodcast, Jordan.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, it's called Commercial Spotlight.
Okay, go ahead.
And well, first of all, do you like the name and the title? Do you think it's a good idea?
I mean, it could probably use a bit jazzing up, but I want to hear what the content is before I come up with the title.
Okay, so it's Tim Allen is doing a Pure Michigan ad. It's pretty good. It's a good ad, but he ends with a description of the city of Ann Arbor, and I've never thought of it this way before, and I want to know if, based on what you know about Ann Arbor, your experiences there, if this sounds accurate to you. Okay. Ann Arbor, where every day is a festival.
You know, I've only really been there a couple times, and one was for a 10K, believe it or not, and the other was for like a recruiting event for my work. So there was no festivals to be had at that time, but I'd have to ask someone who lived there, I guess. What about you? I doubt you went to very many festivals there, based on your skepticism in this. What was it called? Commercial Spotlight?
Yeah, Commercial Spotlight. Where every day is a festival. I mean, I've been to Ann Arbor seemingly more than you. I don't know how you've only been there twice. It's not that exotic. I don't know. Is Ann Arbor synonymous with festivals? Is it like a I never heard that before. It's news to me, and they're trying to advertise it as that. And false advertising, maybe. That's my concern. I don't want people to come to Ann Arbor from out of state and expect a festival and get there and just have it be. It's a real nice city, but it might not be a festival there. Something I'm thinking about.
It's certainly something that I'm glad you brought up. I'm just wondering why you brought it up in the middle of the first two scenes of the episode.
Because that was when I saw the commercial. That's where the note is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So yeah, our viewing experience is a little different. So that would be why.
I would say first Commercial Spotlight, smash success. Can't wait to do it again. All right, next scene. We're home. Everybody's having breakfast or, I don't know, a meal. Jill's aunt has died, and everybody's kind of glib about it. A lot of, I don't know, someone has passed away here, and I think that maybe is lost on everyone in the family. A little too sarcastic. I don't know.
We were pretty glib about the old man a second ago.
Yeah, all right, you got me there. Agree to agree, and I'm gonna do some soul searching and get back to you on that.
I think that would be good. We're hypocrites, so we need to really think about that. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it was worth it. I think what happened there was I was so down on Chumley, just in the whole Chumley experience, that old man kind of seeped in, and I just was kind of associating them as one. But you're right. I was glib about old man, and now they're being glib about aunt. So. Something to think about. All right, so $56,000. They have to split it 5 ways. Tim is really unimpressed with the amount of money they're gonna get.
He's so rich.
Or he acts like they're somehow gonna lose money on this. That's not how it works. But we never find out exactly how much Jill gets. But it seems to be a fair amount of money. But with the money comes the instruction. Spend it on something frivolous for yourself. And this is where we get some thoughts. Could I do a vacation? Should I get a bunch of clothes? That would be a lot of clothes also.
Yeah, it would
be. But you know what? We get a character trait of Jill's that we've never really heard of before, but she's always wanted a sports car. Because she had an old boyfriend that had one, and she's always wanted one. And Tim is pretty excited about this, so You can guess where things are headed here.
Love making?
What? What did you say?
I said love making.
Love making.
Question mark. I assumed if Tim was excited, that was where they were going.
Can't wait for you to edit that out. Next scene. Go ahead, take it on. Every once in a while, with the phone conversation that we're having, it sounds like it's like a mouthful of marbles. Like I have no idea.
That's what happened with the fish and chips thing. I couldn't understand what you were saying for the life of me. You could have said that 50 times. I would have never gotten what you were saying. Oh, man.
It's piecemeal. We're doing our best.
Yeah. All right, so we move on to the car lot where Tim is still excited. He has a guy here that he's worked with, and that's Jerry. Jerry makes a few jokes that don't land, and they're ignoring Jill. Basically, they're trying to say, like, they know everything about cars. Jill has no idea. She's really just looking for something cute. Tim is really trying to push her in this direction and trying to make, get a little bit of a deal out of Jerry. And Jill will just keep saying, I'm not interested, and Jerry continues to build a bigger and better deal. So she's a good negotiator, but she doesn't want the car anyway, so she just walks off the lot and leaves Tim there.
Jerry is played by Drew Pillsbury. Be ashamed to have your last name be Pillsbury, I think, growing up. I don't know.
Mr. Pillsbury.
49 credits to his name. Best known for Transformers, Dark Side of the Moon. I don't know. I'm assuming it's the moon. It's cut off. Dark Side of the Planet. I guess
the moon. No, it's just the moo. It's about cows.
Dark Side of the Moo. Oh, I like that. It's like Food Inc. sort of. Yep. About 50, Broken, and Hey Jordan, Time Master, which has the guy that played Mr. Miyagi. So it's a little bit like Collision Course or Time Crisis, one of those things.
That's all that matters to me.
Yep. This guy looked familiar, but I guess I didn't recognize. I thought as I was watching it that I knew him from something, but I'm looking at his credits, and I can't say that I recognize him from anything, unless it was that episode of Matlock where he played Dennis Lamont. That could have been it.
I think everyone remembers the Lamont problem. So
Lamont problem. I have a couple other things to say about this scene. Did you notice the foreshadowing at the end?
No. What foreshadowing?
It's weird. So as the camera zooms, Jill leaves Tim. She's frustrated. As the camera zooms out, there's a flag. There's a car with a British flag on top of it.
Wow, that's what I call an Easter egg.
I mean, it was weird. This guy's last name is England, and he's writing about an Austin Healey. And I mean, that must have been unintentional. They don't do things like that on Home Improvement, do they?
Well, that's kind of one of the things that Adam England brought to the show. This is his first episode, so we haven't seen it until now. But we're going to see it in 7 other episodes.
He wrote 7 consecutive episodes. They liked him so much. They're like, all right, just keep going. Keep riding it out.
They're going to let him... He's got kind of a specific storyline that he wants to work through here, so they're going to let him just go through it.
If this car stuff is going to continue for 7 episodes, I'm quitting. No, I just thought that was very strange.
Yeah, I did not see it, but good eye by you. And you said you had a couple other things. Is there something else you want to say about this scene?
I've decided it's not worth sharing. After my commercial spotlight earlier, I think I'm not going to go out on a limb again. So
I mean, I'd like to hear it. I'll tell you, I thought Jerry did pretty good here. Like I thought he played the car salesman pretty well with Tim. So I liked him.
Actually, yeah, I think so as well. He was fairly convincing. No, I looked up Redline. The dealership was called Redline Motors. I looked it up. As far as I could, there's one in Jacksonville, but it wasn't probably the one they shot at. So,
sounds like you had a lot of free time on your hands today.
You know what is weird? I'm actually pretty swamped of late, but for whatever reason, I found time to do this.
Yeah, you make time for the important things, and that's home improvement Easter eggs. So,
yeah, you have to, and I mean, like, you have to make time for people. You know, like, say someone's coming down to Florida, and they come down, once every couple of years. And, maybe you make time to see them, you offer some flexibility, but, it doesn't always work out that way. And I'm the kind of guy that likes to make time. I don't know about you, but I'm that kind of guy.
Well, you are certainly a generous person, that's for sure. And I'm not going to say anything else.
Next scene.
When they go low, you go high, I think, is what I've heard people say. So
I think the opposite's probably true.
All right, at home later, Jill is on the computer. The boys come in for an update. They're pretty excited about this car, and Jill lets loose that she did buy the car, but Tim does not know. So I guess they're supposed to keep it hush-hush. I'm not sure what their role is supposed to be, but the boys are surprised. They check out the car. They like it. It looks nice. Tim comes in. He finally got home, so by the time that he got home from this dealership, she bought a car, got it home, got it in the garage, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I guess she was
for sure.
busy.
Yeah, it's a real question mark. And then we find out she did even more later on, and it's like, how many hours did all this take is a little absurd. But yeah, carry on.
All right, Tim apologizes for getting carried away, which, it's kind of nice. We don't get the Tim apology usually this early and this unprompted in an episode. And then he finds out that she already got the car and kind of goes off the deep end once he learns that it's British. It's a 67 Austin Healey. He knows nothing about these type of cars. He's disappointed. He laughs and mocks her when she says that she wants to do some of the work herself. All this kind of stuff. So he's really not interested in, even though it's a really nice looking car. You'd think he'd be excited about learning something new, but he is not.
Yeah, so Tim, in his kind of berating of Jill, my favorite part of this episode was, Tim is saying, you don't even know if you got a good deal, and Jill says, no, I took it to a British mechanic, and Nigel said it was a great deal, and I'm thinking, like, whoever heard of a British mechanic? And if there are such things, there are probably not a lot of them in suburban Detroit. And I don't know, just and then the Nigel name, like such an overtly British name. I don't know, just really stupid.
You just double down. Then they made like a bangers and mash joke.
Yeah, all the British stuff was pretty stupid. But I don't know, just something about the idea of her, just like the writer here, like. She went to a British like, what are you talking about? I mean, I don't know, just crazy.
All right, well, we'll get Adam England on the podcast and try to work through the storyline that he's starting to weave through here in the next 8 episodes.
He's too busy throwing away $100 bills because he's so rich.
Sabrina. At home later, Jill is heading out. She leaves the keys behind initially while Tim is supposed to keep an eye on the kids. He starts salivating. He's got ideas of taking this car out for a test drive. And right as soon as he's excited because she's leaving, she steals the keys away. And we get something that we haven't really seen on Home Improvement to this point, and there's kind of Tim is thinking, but he's talking. It's a voiceover type of thing that's going on here. And he takes a look at the car in the garage. He takes a seat in it. He likes the feel of the car, and then he thinks of hot wiring his own wife's car. And everyone in this episode thinks this is going to be a step too far, and I gotta say, it's maybe 2 steps too far.
Yeah, the internal monologue stuff is interesting. Also, what is interesting is you get kind of, when he's standing in front of the sink, you get kind of a key cam, like getting an interesting perspective. It's like the camera is placed just sort of where the keys are, looking up at him. It was a rare kind of directorial flourish that you don't often get on Home Improvement.
Key cam.
And then there was a crane shot, and obviously I love that.
Yeah. I knew you would catch all that stuff, so I just let you take it.
Yeah, that's why you skipped it. Yeah. Not because you probably only watched this once at 1.5 speed or something like that. I don't know. The internal monologue stuff, does any of that work for you at all?
I didn't mind it until it kind of kept going after she took the keys. It was just kind of a long scene for it to happen.
Yeah, and then, isn't he also doing it later on in the car? Like, they just really...
Yeah,
am I wrong on that? Yeah,
no, you're right.
Long.
Yeah.
All right, well, next scene here, and I have to find my way here in the notes. The boys discover Tim is hot wiring the car. They're shocked. Tim has a lot of... everybody has a lot of trust in the boys this episode to not kind of blow secrets, but Tim successfully hot wires the car. Next scene, more internal... I'm just going to go ahead and take it. Sorry. Unless you had something you wanted to say. Episode? Yeah, I'm just going to speed through this.
I was thinking, do you remember when Mark used to narc on everybody all the time? He's really grown up.
Yeah. Mark the narc. Yeah, well, that's those flying lessons. They teach a boy to be a man. That's why you do something like that. Yeah.
All right. Well, keep going. You're excited about this next scene, I think.
Oh, super excited! Yeah, more internal monologue. Tim is really taken with the British. He's and has a lot of like British sort of turns of phrase, and we talking about like bean bangers and mash, and I don't know, other things of that nature. Tim is driving. He needs to get home by 10. That's the goal because Jill's class gets out at 10. He hits some some PM traffic that looked a lot like Los Angeles expressways. I don't know that in, again, suburban Detroit around 9 o'clock at night that you'd hit a lot of traffic, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, they talked about it being possible. They talked about it being construction specifically, so maybe they're upgrading the roads in Michigan. All those potholes.
Is that why your brother is so interested in riding bikes around Ferndale? Doesn't want to hit construction?
Something like that.
All right. This is an interesting part. Tim is honked at by someone, and he wonders what they want, and the person says, "I love tool time," and Tim gives a thumbs up, which will come back later. But there's
just as you thought it would.
It'll come back later. This is another Easter egg. Jordan, keep going for us.
Back at home, Tim arrives just in time, 9:59. He's a little disheveled. He's had the top down, so he's been cruising a little bit besides the traffic. Made it just in time. The boys are chilling. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're chilling. Jill comes in, and, we think that this is going to be the scene where she figures out what happened, but he escapes for at least one night. And we move to the next morning, where Tim is making Jill her favorite breakfast. I don't remember what it was, but
people are always doing this on Home Improvement. I feel like the last 2 seasons, we've seen a lot of breakfasts that are trying to make up for past faults. I feel like I've seen this a lot lately. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, I think we've seen it at least a couple of times. So, yeah. And I know you love breakfast, so you point it out more than somebody normally would. So
if this episode came out now, we'd get a breakfast Brexit joke.
We would, yeah,
because of the UK stuff. Yeah, that would happen.
That would have really made the episode just so much better. So
how many times do you think Last Man Standing has done 5 or 10 Brexit jokes?
Oh. You know what? I think they're gonna keep it lower. Actually, I think maybe only 3.
Okay, all right. Well, somewhere in that 0 to 5 range. Then, yeah, agreed. Cool.
More than 1 is too many. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So Jill is, she feels pretty good about Tim right now. She says she's glad that he's taking things so well. At this time, the boys pick up the paper. They're all sitting around the table reading the paper. And I thought initially this was on the front page of the paper, but no, it's on the Metro section. Tim isn't that same picture that we get earlier in the scene where he's looking back, giving the guy a thumbs up. It was caught by a cameraman. I don't know how.
We didn't see a flash. That was what bothered me. No flash.
And why would there be a cameraman sitting in the middle of this construction traffic, just taking pictures of people? So
yeah, it was absurd.
A little strange, yeah, for sure. So Tim is caught red-handed, and Jill wants to see the paper as well. The boys try to cover up for Tim. I'm not sure why, but they do. And then Tim tries to cover up for himself once he figures out what's going on here. Jill knows something is up by how weird they are acting, and she comes to the conclusion pretty quickly. Yeah. I don't know that I would, but she dismisses the boys, and then she proceeds to stalk Tim, and Tim tries to kind of play it off like he's not really owning up to what he did here. And she is very livid. She says, "This was supposed to be fun, and you've sucked all the fun out of it," and she storms off. So, not a great morning. Those pancakes are, I don't even know if they were pancakes or what he was making, but they're probably going to be cold, and no one's going to eat them. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, everything you said, ditto, man. We're going to head out to the fence, and we're going to play a clip.
One of these days, I'm going to figure out how to suck the leaves right off the tree. What are you doing over there?
Well, Tim, I'm providing sustenance for my Annelida terra firma.
Huh?
I'm feeding my worms.
They like newspaper, huh? Probably love the gardening section.
Well, actually, they seem to prefer the obituaries.
Don't quit your day job. Well, I'll be writing my own obituary if I can't patch things up with Jill.
Uh-oh, what's wrong now?
I promised her I wouldn't drive her new Austin Healey.
Whoa. I thought I saw a picture of you driving in the Healy in the metro section.
So did she. I can't figure it out. I'd get near her car, I'd take over.
Same thing happened when Harry bought his truck and when Al bought his gremlin.
I love cars.
Well, maybe you shouldn't love other people's cars so much.
That's my problem. I'm a man who loves too much. My love is hurting other people.
So I think maybe you should apologize to all the people that you wronged automotively.
That could take years.
Start with Jill.
That could take years.
Wilson is providing food for the worms, and that's newspaper, so what a great tie-in. You know, we get the newspaper stuff here. So, worms, we learn, prefer obituaries. Ha ha ha. Tim shares...
Can you explain that to me? I didn't get it.
Oh, they're in the ground, and when people die, they go in the ground.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Better than
that.
I might have thought. Yeah. All right. Over my... sometimes Home Improvement is just too intellectual for me. So.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever the case. Tim shares his problem, and Wilson, he's obviously the part of the newspaper went in with these worms, and he doesn't call that out explicitly like I thought they were going to, but that's the indication here. Tim feels he can't help himself around cars, whether it's Al's new car or Harry's new car or his wife's new car. He gets all hopped up and causes a bit of anxiety and problems for other people. So Wilson says maybe you should apologize, start making a list and apologize to all the people that you've wronged over the years. It reminded me a little bit of Billy Madison and when he makes his list. But no, he said it could take years, and we're going to start with Jill. So it's, I don't know. It's not the worst Wilson scene in the world.
By this point in the episode, I was just kind of ready to have it done. Okay. It's fine. It's okay. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say one way or the other. Yeah. So I'm not going to say anything one way or the other. It's okay.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. That's what my mom told me.
All right. We're at the table inside, and Tim he confesses to Jill that he's addicted to cars, and he's been making a list of all the various moments where he wronged her from a vehicle perspective. We get a joke here that I kind of feel like the entire episode functions just so they could make this joke. I feel like it started with this joke, and they built everything around it. Tim is talking about his addiction and how he needs to go to the Henry Ford Clinic, and man, the audience loses. It's a good joke. I mean, I'm not saying it's not. It's probably the best joke of the episode, but it does feel like the episode was based solely on this joke. Things wrap up pretty quickly here. He kind of charms her. He gives her a present, and I watched this episode twice. You're going to have to explain to me what this is, because I entirely have no idea what this is in this box, or what it's talking about.
Yeah, it's a club. Basically what it does is you hook it into your steering wheel, and so people can't steal your car and stuff.
Did they set that up at all, or people just are expected to know what that is?
Yeah, it's a fairly common thing, especially for cars that don't have hoods and stuff. So yeah, I think it's just something that most people know about and you don't. But that's all right. You learned something new today.
Hey, not that common. All right, not that common at all. All right. Well, I don't know about that, man. I've lived. I've traveled. I've seen things. No idea what that was. In any case,
sounds like a good poll.
I'm gonna have to have a picture of it and say, "Do you know what this is?"
Yeah. And then give 4 good options. So
4 good options. What did I think? What did I think it was? I don't know. I honestly didn't. I guess I didn't think enough about it. I knew that I didn't know what it was, and that was enough for me.
That is as far. Well, you said you weren't really interested in at the end of this episode, so that was as far as you wanted to think.
Yeah, you're right. I was really into it at the beginning. During I was pausing and looking at car dealership names, but I did lose interest. Jordan, final scene. Bring it to a close for us.
All right. Later on, Tim and Jill are going to dinner. I wonder if they're going to go to the same restaurant that we saw him and Al at the other night. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
They're going to go in the vehicle, and Tim has stayed away from the car for 2 weeks. There's some more addiction jokes here. And Tim goes to the driver's seat because he thinks he's going to drive the car, and then he thinks better of it and remembers that it's Jill's car. That's it. Episode is over.
Roll credits fade to black. Whose car is it anyway? Jordan, let me ask you a question before highs and lows. And I mean, I have no skin in the game one way or the other. Are all the addiction jokes kind of tasteless? I mean, like, I'm not trying to be 2019 PC, police, et cetera, but I'm just kind of wondering, like, I don't know, how are we supposed to feel about that? Is that fair game? I guess.
Yeah, I didn't think too much of it at the time of watching this, so I think it's fine. I don't know.
All right, well, you are the parent, so you're going to raise the next generation.
Let's not overthink everything. How about that?
Fair enough. Hey, it is a home improvement podcast, so sort of what we're doing. But fine, Jordan, you don't want to talk about it. We won't talk about it. Highs and lows, Jordan. A nickel for your thoughts. What do you got for me?
Well, it sounds like you really didn't like this episode. I maybe liked it slightly better than you, but it's definitely not one of my favorites. The Henry Ford joke is obviously we both enjoyed that. I did like the opening scene with the Fire Week stuff. I thought that was, I don't know, something different, but you didn't like that as much. As far as the rest of the episode, we get a good Jerry, not the actual Jerry Seinfeld, but a different Jerry who does a pretty good job, and the boys are involved a fair bit, but they're not really doing much. So I don't know. I mean, the rest of the episode is just kind of like some really doubling down on British jokes over and over again, and kind of a little tasteless. Making fun of a dead person, which we did earlier in the episode, so I guess we can't say too much. But yeah, this wasn't, the newspaper stuff is just like, I mean, complete bull crap, somebody caught a picture of him doing that, and that's kind of a big part of this episode and whatnot. So Wilson's advice is, it shouldn't even need to happen. So kind of the conflict here is, I think Tim by now would know better, but I guess he doesn't. It's not a great episode. It's not one I'm going to necessarily remember, but I don't think it's going to end up being in my bottom 3 or anything for the season. So that's my feeling. It's lukewarm. What do you think?
Interesting. You would find the British jokes to be distasteful, but addiction is fair game.
No, I didn't say it was distasteful. They just double down on it. It's just
I thought you said the British jokes were tasteless, and I thought, oh, well, interesting lines being drawn. In any case, Jordan hates a fish and chips joke. Fish and chips, on the other hand, fish and chips. No, that's good. All right. Yeah. No, I don't like this episode. I didn't think the fireman stuff was good. I thought Tim was super annoying in this one. The internal monologue, like Tim doing the British stuff, it's just really, really dumb. The deal with the photograph and the newspaper is just so contrived. Jill went to a British mechanic, get out of here. I just really, I don't know, for whatever reason, this one really rubbed me the wrong way. I guess the guy, Jerry, what's his name? Pillsbury, hard to forget that name. That guy was well cast and somewhat memorable, but yeah, I don't know. This one did not work for me for whatever reason. Maybe it's my mindset, but I thought it was pretty stupid all the way through. So
yeah, it's not one that we will. I'm sure this is. I mean, it's syndicated on certain channels, and maybe we'll talk about that later on Twitter because there's some feedback there. But I don't think I've ever seen this episode before. It's probably not one that they show in syndication ever. It's definitely not a memorable one, and I hope to not watch it again.
Yeah, I haven't seen it before. They probably don't show it on TV because all the addiction stuff is so distasteful. and the British stuff is super offensive,
Super offensive, for sure. Yeah. So, all right, with that, we're going to move on to Sean's social media corner. If you'd like to reach out to us, go to thehomeimpodcast.com, where we have a brand new redesigned website. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a humdinger. So go to thehomeimpodcast.com. We're on Facebook and Twitter at Home Impodcast. And if you'd like to support the show I mentioned earlier, go to patreon.com/Home Impodcast. We do bonus episodes on things that are not home improvement. And this month we're going to be doing The Office. So we're going to do the Goodbye Toby episode where you get some Holly Flax action. So be supporting us for that. Go to patreon.com/Home Impodcast for as little as $1 a month. You can get those bonus episodes that we do every month. And if you'd like to support the show and you don't really want to give us any money, or you've already given us so much money, you're gonna go bankrupt, so you got to do something else. You can go to your podcasting app and leave us a 5-star review that helps other people find us and pushes us up the podcast rankings. So make sure to do that. Adam?
Yeah, Jordan. Twitter. We are recording this a little bit earlier, so I don't have a poll this week. I'll share that next week. But just kind of tweeted yesterday asking people to sort of rally around getting JTT on the pod. A lot of people have been asking, a lot of mail, snail mail. People have been knocking at my door. When is JTT coming on? And, I'm telling them we're working on it. So if you want JTT on the pod, help us. Tweet at Patricia Richardson. Tell her how swell it could be, because she's kind of going to be the one that connects the dots, because we don't really have another way to get in touch with JTT. So people have kind of rallied around that. I think that's an idea that people are excited for. We've got a couple responses, but I'm not going to go through all of those. Other than that, on Twitter, favorite Mother's Day moment. I asked people to share those. We got one message from at Rodeo Sim. He mentioned that he liked it when Jill gets a walk-in closet and the shoes walk out to the Nutcracker, which is an episode I think we covered a couple of years ago. I don't remember what one, but he liked that memory as well. Other than that, yeah, follow us on Twitter. It's a good time. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a place for home improvement conversation, and it just keeps growing. So tell your friends, follow us on Twitter, go to Facebook, like our page, all that kind of stuff. And Adam,
oh yeah, I want to report as well. We have 676 followers. So last week we were stuck on 666, which was, I think, a little scary for everybody. So fear not, we've moved past that, and barring some kind of a mass exodus, we should be safe for the foreseeable future until we get 6,666, and then, well, that's a whole different ball game. So glad I was able to get that in there. Huh.
Yeah, that was I'm glad you interrupted me, Adam. You said you had a question for me.
I do. Yeah. Why don't you think addiction is? No, I'm just kidding. No, Jordan. In this episode, Jill is given. I'm gonna just say $15,000 and told to spend it on something frivolous for herself. Were you in that position? What would you do with $15,000 within the instruction that you need to spend it on something frivolous for yourself? So, you're not putting it in a 401k or saving it up for daughter's college fund, things like that. Responsible things like you might want to do. So, what do you think?
The two things that jump to my mind would either be like a really nice vacation, either like, like a European vacation or going to Hawaii or something like that, or the West Coast in general, something nice like that. Or, I could go to lots of these games, but I would do like really sweet sporting events tickets. So just like, courtside to NBA Finals games or like stuff like that, basically. So those types of things I would love, and first things that come to mind. So $15,000, I could probably accomplish some of those goals, I think, pretty easily. So, Adam, I'd love to know what your innermost dreams are and what you would do with these 15,000 bones.
Yeah, so I think probably where I would start is I would do the math and see how many cameos from Gary Busey I could get with the money. And then whatever's left over, I would buy a candy bar or something. No, I think it would have to be travel. I think I'd try to, I don't know, I guess I'd try to do a thing where I would get a motorhome or something and do some driving around the country. And I've always wanted to kind of just leisurely work my way through the country on a road trip. So I'd probably try to do something with that and get the time off work and so on. So simple, but I think that would be fun to be able to have the time and the funds to do that. So.
Well, with your semi-remote job, you could get one of those little portable internet things, and you could do it right now, Adam.
Yeah, you're leaving the $15,000 out of it, though. Unless you want to, unless someone that has left me some money. I think that's the real obstacle right now. But
yeah, that's a big obstacle. Well, I'm interested to hear. I'm sure you'll tweet this out. I'm interested to hear what our audience and listeners would do with that $15,000. So I'm sure that'll be a poll, and I'd love to hear all the things that they have planned. And I'm sure that you, would love to hear next week's episode title.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Lay it on me, big dog.
I was a teenage tailor.
Hey, Halloween!
It's here so soon, and I couldn't be happier.
Those are generally our favorite episodes. You know, the concern, though, Jordan, will it be too scary?
Well, I'll try to prepare this week by watching, like, The Exorcist and some other films, so...
Yeah, watch all your favorite scary movies. I know you have like a top 10. I mean, you probably want to start with Jason Takes Manhattan.
I wouldn't say Jason 1, Jason 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
They recently put them all up on Amazon Prime, so all
amen.
of Friday the 13th. Yeah, so I mean, you can finally work your way through, and you can look at my rankings and see, do I agree, do I disagree? In any case, well, Jordan, it's been a pleasure. Do you have something else you wanted to say?
Nope, I don't want to talk anymore.
I thought you made a noise as if you wanted to say something. Well, Jordan, thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for listening, and I guess I should say, take care.
Take care, everybody.